You're listening to Rendezvous with the Writer with Bobbi Jean and Jim Bell, only on LA Talk Radio.
Welcome to Rendezvous with the Writer, where readers and writers meet.
And story is everything. Who are we?
Who are we? Jim and Bobbi Bell.
We're your hosts, Jim and Bobbi Jean Bell, and we're so delighted to have you with us again this week, whether you're listening live on LA Talk Radio's website, or you're on YouTube, or you're on the LA Talk Facebook page. We are so happy to see you with us. Jim, who's our guest tonight?
Special guest, Carmen Baglioni.
And here she is. Hi, Carmen.
Good evening. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
We've had this planned for a long time, haven't we? I think we've had this planned for a pretty long time. And then we got to meet you even after we had this planned. We got to meet you face to face. Where were we? You remember where we were?
We were at Western Writers of America convention in Rapid City, South Dakota.
We were.
In June.
Oh, what a great conference that was. We're kind of hooked on writer conferences now, I think.
They're fun.
They're fun. So, Carmen, Jim has a little something to say about you, and then we're going to start having our exciting conversation. Just a moment.
Okay, Carmen Baglioni is an award-winning author of young adult and inspirational Western romantic suspense. She worked with tribal elder Marguerite Ensminger for 3 years, learning the Arrow Lakes language and various cultural traditions, which led her to her writing career. With a love of history and the Western woman's lifestyle, she weaves threads of healing, hope, and horses into her stories with a thread of romance. She lives with her husband in northeast Washington on the Colville Confederated Indian Reservation. Very good.
Yeah. So welcome, Carmen.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit more just about your background and when you started writing and what it is about writing that you love.
Well, it's funny because I never planned to be a writer. I actually have an abnormal psychology degree. And it was only when I moved to the reservation with my husband that, when you're immersed in a culture and everything, then this story and this character in one of my young adult books, it just wouldn't leave me alone. And so I started writing. I had I didn't even know how to do chapters or anything. I just had one long manuscript going. And then I hooked up with a Writer's Digest and fiction course, and he got me going. And I started writing the book, and then my kids were in junior high and high school, and we had so much going on, I put it down. And so when my youngest son, Marshall, went off to college, he said, "Mom, we're gone. It's your turn. Get it done." And that was in the fall. So in the spring, I called him, got his voice message. I was so mad. But I did leave him a message and say, you know what, I'm done. I got it done. And all year he would hound me. And so I got it. I've been writing seriously for 20 years.
Wow.
Very good.
Wow. Well, you have written 2 books of a 3-part series, and I'm going to hold up book 1 because that's the one we have in our hand. And I didn't think to tell you. Oh, yay! I knew you would be ready. So, book 1 in this series is called Captured Secrets, And this is part of the Seventeen Ranch series. And you have book 2. What is the title for book 2?
Broken Bondage.
Broken Bondage. And there is just so many different things to talk about. The first thing I'm just going to say, Carmen, is I finished reading, Jim read this one all the way through, and I got about 3/4 way. I picked up Broken Bondage, and I was up till 3:30 this morning finishing it. And then when I got into bed, I just lay there with my eyes wide open, even though I knew the story. And it's a romance. We know there's going to be a happy conclusion. But you took me on a whirlwind ride that started pretty much on page 1. And then by the time I got to about 100 pages left, it was heart stopping. I kept looking at the clock going, Bobbi, you got to go to bed. And I'm like, no, I can't. I can't. This would not be the moment to go to bed. And I just kept reading. You take us into the world in both of these books. You take us into a world that is really unfamiliar to me as a reader, and probably I'm speaking for you too, Jim, as a reader. You take us into the world of abused, two cases of abused women, and you the author channel through them ways for us, the reader, to really be in their shoes and be thinking what they're thinking and feeling what they're feeling, and the terror, at times, no trust, no self-worth, no. I'm rambling, and we really want to hear from you, but I just have to say that these are also engaging reads, and a reader should not be afraid of picking these books up with what I'm telling you. But you are bringing to light, I think, issues that we need to have brought to our attention in a way that make us not want to put the book down. Even at the end, we're still thinking about it. So thank you. Thank you for writing these 2, and I look forward to book 3 very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it is an important issue. Too many women are silenced, and we need to speak about it. We need to speak about domestic violence and murdered and missing Indigenous women, and even mental and emotional abuse. There's 6 different kinds of abuses. It's not always physically violent, but it can be very mentally and emotionally horrifying.
And it's all background. I mean, it's not one type of person that could experience this. It's cross. There's no boundaries for it. Right. So I've gone on and on here, Jim, and I'm going to let you jump in. I
know. You have a personal inspiration here, personal background that's kind of appears to inspire these books. Would you care to elaborate on that at all for your audience?
I don't say too much out of respect for our family, but in 2009, my niece was beat to death by her husband, and in an Indian country, and she's was a tribal member, and so since then, and I knew at some point I would have to write something. I could not write the true crime. I couldn't relive everything. It was hard enough to write these. I shed a lot of tears just writing these and remembering, things from the trial and everything. And so I did go to fiction, and I started romance with these books. I don't know if that was wiser, or not, but I knew I had to do it because since her death, I chose to become a domestic violence and abuse advocate. And this is a way I can do that. And you're right. It doesn't matter. There are no boundaries for abuse. And we need to be aware. And I don't think there's much, if any, fiction that covers this.
Not
other than movies.
Yeah, and even movies, we can't get. We are right in. We are, when in book 2, the main character Rita, when she's having a panic attack and looking for that paper bag or taking a bag of chips and throwing out it's like I'm there with her, even though I've not experienced that. I've experienced that to a degree now. And I also felt like you gave us through these characters things to be aware of, things that may be manifesting in the women around us that we know and love, that we should be not looking for, but be aware of. Do you want to just take a moment and mention like one or two things that could be obvious, subtle, but obvious that we maybe could be looking for?
Obviously any bruises or anything, but even a lot of abusers try to isolate. Isolation is a big thing, or excuse making. Those are two.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can you still hear us? I know that my screen has got you frozen just a bit. Can you hear us? Are we frozen? Are you there? We have this happen every so often with internet connections, and I'm hoping, let's see, maybe she will call us back. She's doing this off of her phone. While we're waiting for Carmen to come back, I'm going to hold up the first book again, Captured Secrets. And this is the first book. And Jim, who are our main characters in that book?
In this book, Sydney. Yeah. Sydney is our main character, and along with her sister Glenda.
Okay.
Yep.
And they have a ranch they're trying to save, and they've had a lot of opportunities here. And unfortunately, their parents have just died in a car accident,
which happens really soon. So it's not a spoiler alert.
So it kind of compounds what's going on here. So there's all of a sudden we'll get into a lot of complications and a lot of drama.
Mm-hmm. And Carmen is back. If you're listening to us and you didn't see audio, we've got Carmen video. We got Carmen back. So we were just talking for a moment about the backstory to Captured Secrets, and we're delighted to have you back with us. And can you still, I know you're back. Can you hear us, Carmen?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Good.
Yeah. Please forgive me. We're in a very remote place. I'm down at the Fish and Game office that normally has really good reception. It is not tonight. We have mountains blocking everything. So
Carmen, that's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's all right.
So
we'll do our best.
We talked for a moment about Captured Secrets, but the thing that we want to get into, because it's so exciting and it just happened this week, and we were just on Amazon earlier today. Your book, second book, launched on Tuesday, Broken Bondage, and according to Amazon, when we were looking, it was the #1 new release in the category of women's religious fiction. And wow, congratulations. That's so exciting. And I think Carmen's frozen up again. So this is the second book in her series, again, the 7 Tine Ranch series. And this one is the one that I read all the way through and couldn't hardly put it down. And one of the things that connects both of these two books is actually the ranch, the 7 Tine Ranch, which is like a character in the books. In the
books,
right. With the ending of book 1, we kind of learned that Sydney, one of the daughters that's taking care of the ranch, has become an advocate like Carmen for abused women, and has a special area set up on the ranch to help women, battered women, have a safe spot. I'm just talking a little bit about the starting of Broken Bondage. We're excited to announce that it's #1 on Amazon as of today in the new release in women's religious fiction. So
oh my gosh, I had no idea. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, I should have taken a screenshot.
Oh my gosh,
I didn't think.
I'm so excited. #1 in women's fiction.
in
religious
women's
fiction.
religious fiction.
Yeah.
Oh
Number
my
one,
God.
new release. And
Yeah.
and you had 3 5-star reviews that are there,
Yep.
including one from
Well,
our
Randy
mutual friend,
Samuelson Brown.
Sandy Samuelson Brown.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love her. She's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's wonderful. And the third review just got posted today. The other 2 were posted, just in the last couple of days. So tell us, so you just learned new information. How do you feel?
I feel incredibly wonderful. God is just blessing these books and the message, and a lot of dreams have come true in the last few years, and a lot of hard work.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's good.
oh my gosh, I'm thrilled.
Changing
Thank
lives.
you for letting me know. Yeah.
Well, we were kind of doing a little bit of the prep that we do in the afternoon, and I said, "Oh my gosh, let's go to Amazon and see what's going on there." And we're like, "Whoa!"
I was on there too, and I just didn't even think to look it up.
So book 2 launched on Tuesday. All new books launch on a Tuesday. Do you want to share a little bit about kind of what was your preparation in the last, however, timeline that you created in advance of the launch?
The book launch.
Yeah. I know for book 1, we were way ahead of the game in creating a street team, and it was too long. And so I told my publisher that, I only wanted to do it, I'd get the book to them like maybe 3 months early, so my street team would have enough time to read it and get ready. And then in the last month have we been sharing some things. And so, all summer we've been preparing for this, but I've been in different stages, 3 different edits for book 3, dealing with covers, dealing with social media stuff with my publisher. And then I have a small but wonderful launch team, and they've just been just getting those memes out there on social media, telling their friends. Writing reviews. I know more have written reviews, but they're not, Amazon's not putting them up yet. So
well, that's okay.
Yep.
A couple new ones a day. It gives us readers, that's it. That's okay. When you say a street team, was everybody kind of doing the same thing? So it was going, or did different people like, okay, you all are going to read, or you're going to read and write, did everybody have a different assignments, or everybody kind of did? Okay.
No, they all did the same thing. And I provided everything. I did the memes, I did the script, everything. All they had to do is copy and paste. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
I gave them links for book reviews and everything. So I want to make, I appreciate them.
Yeah.
And I want to make it as easy as I can for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, it's fun to be. I was only part of a launch team once earlier this year, and it was very interesting. I didn't have any idea what went on. And as a reader, I found it was like really cool. I was kind of, in the backstory.
Yeah, it is.
Working it.
It is, because not only on the launch team, you're reaching out to bloggers and setting up blogs. I did 2 paid blogs, one a Blitz with Espresso Books, and then Just Reads. That tour will come next week, and it'll miss the 99-cent Kindle deal, but there will be reviews that come with that one. So I'm pretty excited.
Now the 99-cent Kindle is up right now.
Yes, for Broken Bondage.
For Broken Bondage.
Yep.
And I have Kindle Unlimited. So actually I was able to access it without a fee. And I always feel sometimes kind of bad about that, because I want the author to, make money, but I don't know what I don't know how that all works with Amazon.
Yeah,
so,
we do. We do.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Is there something that you learned during the launch that was a really good lesson for the future, or to share with somebody who might be in the preparing for a launch coming soon?
To just not fret over it. Just get who you can, work with those that are willing, Don't be shy to ask. And
Mhm.
think of the message in your book. Mine have a huge message, and I want that message out there. So I'm not afraid to ask people.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
just have fun.
Mhm.
Just have fun with it.
Mhm.
Do you line up interviews and book signings at a time, or do you as you go kind of which way do you take it?
Ahead of time.
At a time, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. You have one this Saturday.
Yes, it's a live book launch. We're on the Colville Indian Reservation, but an hour from here is the town of Colville, and that's where I was actually
Okay.
born. I was raised in Spokane.
Okay. So
And so
yeah,
it's kind of fun to come there.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, we are
So it'll be in Colville,
in
a
Colville.
live
Well,
launch
Yeah.
party.
There's the Seven Tine Ranch kind of has a manifesto. And that because the ranch is something that appears in all three stories and is kind of a connector. Do you want to share any of the manifesto with us? Oh, I think, did we lose Carmen again?
Maybe we should share it.
Okay, well, it seems like, okay, so here are 6 of the points of the manifesto for the Seven Tine Ranch. I have them written here. Honesty and integrity. What's the second one?
Lead by example.
Third one, respect and enjoy each other and the land we live on.
Make goals and prepare for ruts in the road.
That's a really good one. We need to put that one in the Bell Manifesto.
For us.
Yeah. Stand on your word.
Make sure every horse and cow and vested owner pulls their own weight while everyone else is gone.
Yeah, because that can happen on the ranch. And in book 2, one of our main characters, Robert, who's with the ranch, he takes off to compete in rodeo, and the ranch has to continue on without him. Well, we were Carmen, we were just covering the manifesto, and I think she maybe is holding it up of the Seven Tine Ranch. I hope we didn't miss any.
No, and do you see the logo on there?
Yeah.
So for my husband's 60th birthday, my son made that. That's an actual elk antler, and he did the metal work on it. I took a picture and then made it into the logo.
That is so cool. So that's why it's Seven Tine, because
Yes.
of the points on the elk. Oh, very cool.
Yes.
We were like, I think so, but let's be sure. Okay.
Yeah. Hunting is very cultural around here, fishing
Sure.
and hunting. And
Sure.
so Sydney's grandpa is the one who built the ranch. And so, of course, he named it the Seven Tine.
Excellent. That's great. We are going to take a very short break, Carmen. So just stay put. We're going to have a little ad from our Out West Shop Bookshop affiliate page, where all of Carmen's books are available. You can even pre-order next year's book coming. And so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Story is everything. Find a great one on Out West Shop's bookshop. Go to outwestshop.com. Find books and CDs on the menu. Choose Shop Out West on bookshop.org. Browse through featured authors on Rendezvous with a Writer. Explore curated book lists and our featured picks. Add in note cards, calendars, and jigsaw puzzles. One-stop shopping for great gifts. Use the search box to find thousands more titles. Make the switch. Your purchase supports us as independent booksellers. That's our story.
Welcome back to Rendezvous with a Writer with special guest Carmen Bayoni.
And we're talking about both her books, Captured Secrets, and she's holding up the new one, which is called
Broken Bondage.
Very good.
Well, we're talking about that book you're holding, Carmen. Who's that on the? Who are those folks there in the picture?
Tell us about the cover of that one.
Oh, yes. So we're trying to have a hard time finding Native Americans that looked like the tribes up here. And the photos they kept sending me of women looked more Southwest. And so I convinced my publisher to let me take the photos. My YAs,
Mhm.
4 of my YAs are my own photos. And so I showed that to them. We had a couple photo sessions with my son, Corey, and his wife, my daughter-in-law, Tiffany. And I convinced them to both models and my publisher to take their picture. And so, yeah, my kids are on the cover.
That is
Mm.
so terrific.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
that fun?
Yeah.
That's so fun. That's so fun. Let's see. Do you want to read something from either one? Do you want to read from Captured Secrets first, or what would you like to do?
I'll read a small passage from Broken Bondage.
Okay.
And hope that they
Okay.
connected. Okay, so this is actually from chapter 16. Not yet. Rita rushed into an office. She'd seen Rob.
Okay, she is reading aloud, and unfortunately, we see her on screen. Okay, she was reading aloud. Let's see, from Broken Bondage, and I don't have that where I can find that easily to pick up and read. Let's see, what can we chat about for a moment? Let's see. Do you want to talk? Was there something from Captured Secrets we didn't hit on yet? We might want
Well,
to
we were
talk
talking
about.
it's we have we're trying to save the ranch because the parents have died. There's a lot of debt on the ranch.
Mhm.
The two sisters are not in agreement exactly on how we were going to approach solving this problem. Are we back?
Are we back? I'm so sorry. Do you want to?
I'm so sorry.
Oh
That's all
no!
right.
You know what? We're just old friends sitting around
Yeah.
having coffee, and one of us has to get up and leave the room every now and again. Let the dog out. No worries.
So you're back.
Do you want
Yeah.
to? Do you want to start again? Or
Okay.
What would you like to?
Just where I think you guys heard, she hightailed it to the barn. Chad looked up from brushing a horse. You seen Robert? Her lungs burned. He just took off to the river pasture. What's up? I need him to find. I need to find him. She tried not to say, oh, can you take me there? Before Chad could answer her, a dark door 1-ton pickup rattled to a halt near the barn's front entrance, and Robert hopped out, posse in his arms. He went around and strolled toward them. I'll go with you. Rita ran to him. When do we leave? To change pipes? No, to Idaho, the rodeo. He placed his hand on the small of her back and led her into the tack room and shut the door. Why the change of heart? He lifted off his cowboy hat and mopped his sweaty brow. You were right. He knows where I am, and he's on his way. He's coming here? You sure? How'd he find you? I must have left the 7-time brochure in my room. How could she have been so careless? Robert tapped his Stetson on his head, handed the pup to Rita, and pulled his cell from inside the inside pocket of his jacket. Hang on. He tapped the screen with his thumb and held his cell to his ear. Who are you calling? And I guess you'll have to read it to find out.
You have to read it. Tell us about Robert.
I love Robert.
He's an amazing character. Tell it, yeah.
He really is, and he ends up, it was a relationship that they didn't know they were siblings until later, and so Robert is Sydney and her sister Glenda's half sibling, but it didn't come out till later, and so he is co-owner and takes more of that role in Broken Bondage. And, he's just a saddle bronc rider who wants to, go pro. His next big thing is the Indian National Finals Rodeo, which is a real thing in Las Vegas. And, he's just kind of a serious but humorous, there's humor in there. And, he just doesn't have time for any of this. And he doesn't feel comfortable, taking care of Rita. That's Sydney's wheelhouse, not his. But, he steps up and does it.
He does.
He does what he needs to do because deep down in his heart, he cares. And he cares a lot about his sisters, the women in need who come to the 7-time for help.
and they're on the run. And we've been to a couple of rodeos, but we're not really rodeo folks. So again, you take us into the world of rodeo, where we're sometimes Rita watching and in the audience and going to the vendors and things, and then sometimes we're Robert. And so that's another feature that I think makes the book so engaging. And you just can't not love Robert.
Yeah.
It's just a
He's
great
pretty
guy.
special.
He's pretty special.
And not just because, of this. He was special before they were on here.
Yeah.
Well, he's a developing character in the first book.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously he is the star in the second book.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
He gets his own book. I think there is a theme of kind of secrets in both books. We certainly captured secrets. It's right in the title. But seems like in this kind of abuse situation, there are secrets. And it is interesting to see how they get revealed and how there is something very freeing in the revealing of them. And I wondered if you did you know what the secrets were as a writer? Did you know those secrets? You put them in there and then you figured out how to, unsecret them for us, if that makes sense. Oh no, Carmen, did we lose you again? Can you hear us? Okay, well, we'll hopefully we'll get the answer to that question. We have an unanswered question about secrets. Jim, when you were reading the first book, Captured Secrets, speaking of jerky, this is
jerky, right? Venison jerky, beef jerky.
Yeah.
About 8 different flavors.
All the jerkies had their own page. And I made every single recipe. I made it, and I had my family taste test it, and teriyaki was the favorite.
Yeah, right. It's funny about jerky, I kind of got a stereotype in my mind. It's like, fish and game guys, outdoors people, and truck drivers, and maybe, macho type folks, they eat jerky. And then all of a sudden we find out all these ladies like jerky.
Oh, yeah.
And it comes in all the different flavors,
Can eat it on the run.
Yes.
So we were just asking a little bit about, so there are some secrets that exist in both books, and you as an author, did you know what the secrets were, and then how to not plant them's not the right word, but how to place them, and then how to reveal the answers or unreveal the secrets? As a writer, what was that process like?
It's funny because I kind of knew as I went, but then as I wrote, they just kind of came out naturally. And, a couple of times it's like, oh, that would fit good here. Or I hadn't thought of that in the pre-planning process, but it makes sense. Mm-hmm. And so I would add a secret or whatever. And then just plant it where it felt right.
Mm-hmm. The bad guy, the definitely villain bad guy in Broken Bondage is Bowie Dark Cloud. And we discover that he has some secrets. He's trying to keep the fact that he's an abuser a secret, but we also discover he has some other secrets.
Other secrets?
Yeah, and as a reader, they sort of surprised me. It's sort of like, oh, we actually needed to have those, other elements to him. Did you, when you write a bad guy, how is that? How is that to get in his mind?
Weird. By nature, I've always kind of been a wild card, but not a bad person. And so I'd have to just kind of think, okay, if I am a bad person, what would that look like?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you just
yeah. Yeah, but to make him real and authentic, you really had to try to put yourself in his shoes, or he wouldn't be as terrifying to us as he has to be, because we're seeing him through Rita. And so we have to see him as Rita sees him, I think. Yes? And Carmen is pondering that while we once again we have a little technical glitch going on at the moment. So if you yeah, Bowie Dark Cloud is he is not a man you want to hang around
He
with.
sounds like he's kind of in the same boat that Cooper guy is in the first book.
Yes, yes, like Cooper in
Cooper
in
is
the first book.
he's terrible. He's just a bully. And he's a terrible guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just won't be around him. And he keeps showing up.
I know, they keep showing up.
He's supposed to be in jail, but he keeps showing up.
Well, Robert and Rita are on the run as Robert. Well, they're kind of on the run, but not really, because he's going to rodeos along the way, and Bowie just seems to know how to track them, how to find them. It's really terrifying.
Yeah, how to,
We were just talking about
that makes a good story, though. So,
yeah, about Bowie, and that you've written a really terrifying guy, but he's so authentic that we understand why Rita is.
Yeah, we were comparing him to Cooper.
Yeah,
see?
and Cooper in book.
Well, and wait till you read the abuser in Renewed Hope. My editor made the comment, if your readers think Bowie is bad, they're going to hate the other guy.
Okay.
They keep getting worse, right?
Yeah.
And then this trilogy ends with the third book. Yeah. So what do you already know? Do you have another series already working on?
Yes, I do. And that deals with rodeo queens at the Miss America pageant, but I couldn't use Miss America or Miss Rodeo America, so it's Miss American Rodeo. And then it will deal with more professional rodeo cowboys. And so that series will start in Vegas and then actually end in Vegas.
Okay.
From book 1 to book 3. Yeah.
Okay.
When will that come out? When do you think, approximately?
I don't know. My agent has to pitch it, and then it might, depending on the publisher, it could still be a couple of years. So that might not, I don't know, even be out for a few years. So
okay.
Hopefully I'll do some novellas or something in between.
Okay, how much time did you spend on the two books we're talking about tonight? How long did it take you to write those two?
About 3 months.
3 months, okay.
That's fast.
Yeah.
I think that's fast. It was interesting at the WWA conference and one of the panels, and I don't know if you attended it, but I think Jim Jones might have been moderating it, whatever. The question was, how do we ride, like right now, there's so much interest in Western, partly because of Yellowstone in 1883 and all these different things. And I think it was one of the gentlemen with Wolfpack said, write faster.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's hard when your books are off real events. The Rodeo Queen series, there's so much to do, and I have to pick and choose what I'm going to put in the book because I have so much to choose from, and a lot happens in 11 days.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Well, and in this series, there's about 1 year's time, I think, between the end of Captured Secrets and the beginning of Broken Bondage. There's I think there's just about a year. And then between this one and the third one, how long between those two books?
Same, about a year.
About a year. Okay. About a year. Let's see. We're so happy that I was going to go to a break, but we're not going to. We're going to just stay with Carmen because she's here.
Glad to hear again.
Let's see.
Let me ask you just a quick question.
Yeah, jump right in.
You said something about a wild card yourself, you see in the first book about our star Sydney? Do you see yourself in her at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know, maybe. you know,
In a good way.
you know,
She's a very
Yeah.
determined young woman.
She,
I
Yeah.
talked
she
about
is,
it.
and she's gritty. People might mistake her as being rough and rugged and maybe disrespectful, but what she is broken. We're broken people in a broken world, and to be abused, that's tough stuff. To be what she went through, and I know a lot of women who have been abused, and they build those barriers, and sometimes they don't even know how to act authentically because they are so broken.
Well, and speaking of the gentleman, we loved Robert in book 2. Trey in book 1 is another, just a remarkable man.
He's unbelievable. No guy can be this nice.
Talented photographer, interesting. He comes from a bit of a ranching background himself. And she's in such a dilemma. She wants to save that ranch. And he really has some good suggestions, doesn't he, that they put into effect?
Yeah. And he's not perfect. He's not perfect, but I made him really likable to kind of offset her roughness.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that is I had that character a year ahead of time. And when these two had their youngest, which is a boy, they named him Trey. And so I have a picture with Trey holding captured secrets. And he goes, "That's me, huh, Nana?" That's Trey and Trey. So it's kind of fun that there's a family connection to both of them.
Absolutely.
To both books. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I liked Trey very much. And, he does, it's not really a spoiler alert necessarily, but he falls for Sydney. And asked her to marry him when they hadn't really known each other for very long. And I think that's remarkable that he understood the situation and still was like, no, this is the woman for me.
Right.
And I liked that.
And he becomes the backbone. He really does become the backbone of the ranch, where Sydney's had to deal with so much by herself. He just steps up and does what he needs to, because he can see past the abuse. He can see past the masks into her heart.
There's another character that we liked who shows up in both books, sort of in a small way, Mandy. Tell us about Mandy.
Mandy is the ranch cook. And I just wanted, these are hard. This is a hard topic, hard book. So I had to have humor in there. And the humor really does come through Mandy. And she's just a larger than life character, doesn't take anybody's nonsense, especially Robert's in book 2. And, she's just kind of the light in the darkness.
Yeah. And she's a good cook.
Yes.
So I'm just kind of looking at our time. Let's just kind of jump up here and let's ask a couple of process questions quickly. Do you ever get writer's block?
No, I don't, because I do extensive pre-writes, especially on the characters. And so, once you know what their fears are, what their dreams are, what's blocking them from getting those dreams, I put in happy stories, sad stories, their dark moment stories. There's just no room when you develop the character. Like I am now teaching, I'm in Novel Academy with Susie May Warren, and what those ladies teach us is just remarkable. And there's just no room. If you do the work and do all the pre-writes, there's no room for writer's block. And with me, it's just like, I have so much. Now I have to pick and choose, what to put in and what to leave out.
Do you outline, or do you have scenes in mind and you might move them around to get them in the right order? Or how does that go together for you?
In my young adult books, I put chapters and what maybe a sentence or two of what I want in those chapters. And that stayed, but there might be chapters in between, you know, that outline or whatever. But I'm definitely kind of in between. I'm not a pantser. I'm not an outliner. I'm somewhere in between because I have to know where I'm going. I have to know the main plot points, you know, kind of what needs to happen in the book before I write. And then I just kind of let the characters, you know, lead, guide, and direct me.
You belong to some writers groups. What have been some benefits to belonging to a writers group? Oh, she's holding up a gun. Oh, which one is that?
This is Women Writing the West.
Yeah.
You know, I started Women Writing the West, when I was still so insecure and everything. And that organization, the ladies in that organization, they just helped me. They supported me. That's where I got the 3-book contract that led to my agent, a Christian writers group. My agent actually had passed on one of my YA books, Girl Warrior. But she was just such a beautiful human being that when the managing editor who I signed the Seven-Time Ranch with said, "Are you going in unagented?" And I said, "Well, give me a minute." And so I contacted my agent, Linda Glaze, and said, "I have a 3-book contract in hand. Will you take me?" And she did.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, and it's all through the writers organizations. They are so helpful, and that's really where you find the connections. And anymore, I mean, so many agents are saying, "Meet me at a conference," because they get just tons of query letters and everything, and they're overwhelmed. And so when you make those connections and get to know those people, and you know, you support each other, I just blossomed with Women Writing the West, and I love the organization.
Where can our listeners and watchers find you? Where's a good place for them to go?
My website, carmenpeon.com. And if you sign up for my newsletter, you get my novella, Gentling the Cowboy, for free. I'm on social media. My website will take you to those links. I'm mostly on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah. And Jim, you have a couple quotes? You want to share a couple quotes?
Can I say one more thing?
Oh, yes.
So since, and I don't know if you had planned to do this later, but because these books have, you know, deal with domestic violence and abuse, if you know somebody that might be in trouble, please call 1-800, have them call 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 1-800-799-7233. Or you can get online at www.thehotline.org. Please get help, get out.
Yes, thank you. And we will also, when we do a recap for the posting of this, we will include that in the post. Thank you. Thank you for that. Jim, you have a couple quotes?
Quick. This is from the first book, Captured Secrets. It's actually one of the father's favorite quotes, and it comes from a conversation between the two sisters, Cindy and Glenda. And you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You know, and that's very important in these books. You wouldn't think so, but it is. And from Carmen, women need to know they are not alone, that there is help, hope in God's love and guidance, and hope in second chances of love within a healthy relationship. Women need to know they can break the bondage of domestic violence and abuse.
Yes. Thank you for writing these books and for being with us tonight, Carmen. Just stay right there, but we are going to start to just close up the show. And it was so wonderful to have you with us, even with technical glitches. This was fabulous.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be on here. Thank you.
Well, we're going to have you back when Books Week comes out next February. Yes. We should go ahead and book it. I just want to see that next week because of the International Balloon Fiesta here in Albuquerque, Jim and I will not be here, but sitting in for us is guest host Tom Swearingen, who has helped us out a couple of other times and always is wonderful. He's an award-winning Western poet, and his guest will be another mutual friend of ours, Claudia Nygaard. She's a phenomenal singer-songwriter and now a playwright. And I can tell you next week, I'm going to be looking forward to watching it when we get home from an event that we have next week. And the week after, we'll be back on October 19th with another writing team. This is going to be a conversation with Sue Baggio and Bear Pearl with their brand new book. Just recently came out. The Albuquerque Journal has been just raving about it. And their book is called Hungry Shoes. And so we'll be back here on the 19th. Yeah. On the 19th. And I think that's all we have. So
we always say at the end, it's always a great day out west.
Keep writing and we'll keep reading. See you down the trail.
You're listening to Rendezvous with the Writer with Bobbi Jean and Jim Bell, only on LA Talk Radio.